Okay, so just some updates calendar-wise to talk about where we're at. So I think most of you are still putting some finishing touches on the issue tracker project, and that's okay. Definitely work through those today and kind of try and get that done. So that's where we're sitting. I think we're on, this is time. So that's kind of where we're at. In terms of getting on to the portfolio, I did want to point out a few things to make sure that we have things kind of situated. I think, Don, you've already created your repo for that. Has anybody else created their repo for the portfolio project yet? Okay. I want to make sure we walk through this together to kind of have, make sure everybody's on the same page with it. So if you go to coursework on Inside Rankin, you're going to go into the portfolio assignment. And I think it's in this PDF, if I remember right. So there's some overall guidance about how to take care of it and, how to kind of look at building a good portfolio, some explanation of what it's about, okay, to kind of consider as you're working through it. There's definitely some tips here, some link tips to look through. There's a lot of information there, but those are definitely places to check to kind of understand some of the things that people kind of see and look at on a portfolio. I don't agree with all of the guidance in those links, in those articles, but I do provide them to kind of give you some other perspectives on what to do and where it sits. You got then the technical requirements. One note there is that there's a harder limit of 1 page for this, and that's mainly as a way to kind of guide your reader through the portfolio, so that they have a clear path to say, I want you to see this, and then this, and then this, rather than kind of having them meander and maybe not see the stuff you want. So you got the rubric, and I think, there it is. Okay, so so step B, says, hey, see the tips and examples on that first page. C, you see it says, use this repo as a template when creating the project repo. Everybody see that? So I think on the third page or second page. Okay, so step C says create this from from that template. Okay, that's an important thing. Let's go ahead and click on that link. Oh, go back and click on that link. I'm open that in a new tab. And I may need to turn off one of those lights. So you'll see in the template repo there are a whole bunch of files in there. Everybody kind of seeing this? So there's a bunch of stuff that I'm giving you as kind of a starter, which you need to do one of the things that we're going to do with this. So one of the plans for this is that we want to get this portfolio hosted online. And so we're going to be using something called Heroku, a website called Heroku to host that. You'll end up needing to create an account there, but the hosting there is free. In order to do that, though, it doesn't directly take static websites, which is what we're building so far, but it does take, say, a Node application, which is what we'll be talking about next semester. So what I've got in here is actually a skeleton of a Node server, which will allow you to then host it on Heroku pretty easily. So a lot of these files in here are really just configuration to make sure that linters and all those kind of suggestions are set up. The real code for the server lives here in this file called server.js. Again, we'll talk about this next semester. But this is just a very short, actually, web server, right? Which actually is going to host your files. Okay. So this is the thing that it's actually going to run. It's actually going to use this server.js file to run and serve up your files. Make sense? So you can see that there's really not too much code in there. It's actually really only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code, 5 or 6 lines of code in the whole server, which is really one of the strengths of what we're going to do next semester. But that's going to be that. Now, the one line in there that matters is that this says that it's going to serve all the files from the source directory. So anything you put into SRC is going to be visible. It's not going to be visible if it's not under SRC. So you need to make sure that you put all your HTML and your JavaScript and your CSS files into that SRC folder so that you can host it. Does that make sense? So all of your actual code, right, you don't need to touch anything that's in this folder, anything that's out here on the outer side of the repo. All of your code's going to go into source. And you'll note the big README says, put all your code here. Right? So that's basically what you'll need to know from there. Brandon, it looks like you're starting to create that repo.
I would just want, like, so is that all we're going to do?
Yeah, so you're going to say use this template, okay? It's going to create it under your name as you being the owner, because you need that. That's part of why I can't give it out in the conventional way that I've given out these assignments, is because you need to be the owner in order to host it. So you put in there your repository name. Your repository name could probably just be portfolio. That's honestly what I would call it, is I would just call it portfolio. You can make it public or private. That's honestly up to you. Public means that anybody on the internet can see it. Private means that only you can see it. I mean, I guess I would ask, maybe keep it private at least until the end of the semester, and then you can make it public. But that's maybe what I would say there. Is start with it private now, you can make it public later. So you're going to say to create a repository on there. Call it portfolio, create that repository, and then we kind of look at